Howdy y'all, it is Cody from the Keepers of Nerddom. How you doing? Finally got time to talk about Peter Pan and Wendy, the remake of the very classic Disney cartoon. And ironically, my wife was like, hey, we need to watch the original first so the girls understand it, and then they can watch the new one. And after the new one got done, the girls actually really overall enjoyed the new one. And I think that's the reality of when you have a young person watch one of the new live-action movies, they see the character beats, they're similar, but they also really watched very closely the original. Like, they watched it really closely. And I was shocked because it's a cartoon, but it's so old that it shouldn't keep their interest, but it's got so much going on and so much to it, and yet it's such a simple story. And what is the point of the original story? It's growing up. It's Wendy's has to make a choice, and she's ready to grow up, and she starts to realize that over the course of the original film. And Peter Pan is this symbolism of childhood and adventure and all these things, but it's also this kind of self-contained adventure as well that Wendy gets to be a part of, as well as her brothers, and exploring these different parts of Neverland and battling against pirates. And it's very much a battle between Peter Pan and Captain Hook. More so for Wendy, just the reality of where she is, and also just interacting with these people and these different experiences, and like Tinkerbell. The new film, let's just go through like the characters themselves. Wendy very much is, I don't care what you're gonna say, especially to her mom at the very beginning, I'm gonna do what I want. And she is very much the condescending mom rather than, here, let's take care of these things and clean up. It's sit down, shut up, do what I say because this is what I know. And they actually think that makes it look good, and it's not. And she's very good at sword fighting because she can play a fight with swords at home. And so she fights against some pirates and is epic against them. It's kind of weird. There's just a lot of moments where she becomes the star focus in scenes where she shouldn't be. And it's bizarre because she was the hero in the original film because it was the focus of making the choice without being obnoxious. And in this, she's obnoxious and more of the focus. John and Michael, they're just kind of there like they were in the original film. They're side characters. There's not much to say about them other than that they exist. Man. Tinkerbell, it's funny, rewatching the original, she's kind of like psychotic and out to like totally destroy Wendy. And it's funny because it's like, geez, she's not playing around. And I appreciate that in the original film because it's like, she's very jealous. She wants Peter Pan's full attention, and Wendy has it now. And then all of a sudden in this movie, there's none of that. They are buddies, they're the besties, period. And it just loses any of its character. It's still, it's cute for the little kids, but it's like the original one, Tinkerbell was way more fascinating because she was just playing into this one character type of she is still a kid as well. And they just don't want Tinkerbell to be that anymore. Okay. Yeah. So there's no Native American Indians because that apparently was just bad from the original film. And I mean, granted, there's some stuff in there that definitely didn't hold up with time, but I appreciated the concept of them, that they're fighting with the Lost Boys, that it's a whole little character arc for John and Michael to experience to an extent, and then also Peter Pan in another part where Tinkerbell is, jealousy stuff because the girls want him. Tiger Lily is in this film by herself. She don't get captured. Does she? No. I don't think she does at all. No, she's rescuing everybody. Except maybe at the very end, I can't remember, but she doesn't get captured like she did in the original. And she's like super hero as well that can speak only, can speak English, but also in her native language, and yet the Lost Boys understand her as well. And that's another thing. The Lost Boys are not Lost Boys. They're boys and girls. And immediately it's acknowledged by Wendy. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Well, then don't call them the Lost Boys, I guess. Or stick to the source material. Is it really that big of a deal? It was part of the story. Wendy is still a focus in the original thing. She's one of the few ladies that's the focus, and it makes it more impactful because she's the one lady that really gets focused upon in the original movie. Just my 2 cents. But yeah, it's kind of weird. Man, there's just so many weird little pieces. Oh, Alan Tudyk's in it as the dad, which whatever. There's Shmi. He's kind of in it. He's not interesting. Captain Hook is the most fascinating of character in the entire film because he actually has a very tragic backstory that actually makes him out to not be the villain necessarily, but in fact may very well be the misunderstood hero, or at least the anti-hero. And you find out with the story, okay, this is all spoilers at this point, if you really don't want to be spoiled for Peter Pan and Wendy, whoop-de-doo, okay? Lo and behold, in this version, Captain Hook was a lost boy. He was like one of the originals, if not the original, even before Peter Pan, and decided he missed his mom, so he went home and grew up, and then somehow came back to Neverland and got shipwrecked and picked up by the pirates and raised by them and eventually became their captain. And throughout all that, Peter Pan actually got mad and cut off his hand and fed it to the crocodile because he deserted him. So Peter Pan cut off his friend's hand because he was mad he grew up. And granted, Peter Pan is supposed to be a kid, but it's like psychotic. Like it's bizarre. It makes Peter Pan out to be the villain of the film. And And there's a point where he does finally try to save Captain Hook and go, think happy thoughts, so you can fly. And then Captain Hook, after a while, goes, I have no happy thoughts, Peter, and falls into the water. But then at the end of the film, Peter Pan comes back with the flying pirate ship, and they're still in the water and they're fine. No crocodile got him or whatever. And he's smiling. It's like, oh, how touching. The friends are coming back together. But it was just weird. Like, it was just bad. Because it's now, okay, Wendy's the superhero, and Peter Pan's actually the villain. Captain Hook might be an anti-hero, or at least some misunderstood hero. Crazy stuff. And Tinkerbell's not even the same character at all. It's just girls unite. It's cool. Yay. And there's another scene. Oh yeah, Wendy, whenever they're finally captured by the pirates and she's put off the gangplank, she gets this vision of her happy thoughts for the future, and she's like flying in an airplane and I think writing a book, and then dies alone on a couch, old, and it's like all happy thoughts, and it's just super weird. Like, it looks like you lived alone and had no connection, and maybe invented airplanes, or at least were a part of it, and got to at least fly in one. Okay, just, I don't know. It's almost like our modern sensibilities just clashing with old school styles of thought, and the old school style of thought actually is way better, because the old school style of thought was, it's okay to be a guy and it's okay to be a girl, and that's a good thing. But instead now it's like everybody has to be the exact same, and we can have no differences, we can have no focuses for the genders. It's a sad thing, and I hate watching where especially Disney goes with this kind of stuff, because they don't understand how much they are really just shooting themselves in the foot over and over and over again, because they just can't figure out that, hey, maybe classical senses of ethics and morality might actually be something that people want. And instead, let's just give them the craziest insanity stuff that we've ever seen and heard of before. Like, it's so silly. So silly. It's just sad to me. Anyway, let me know down in the comments below. Have you seen Peter Pan and Wendy? What did you think of it? Again, side note, often Disney, they will release their worst live action films straight onto Disney Plus, and they did it again here. I really think that this is on the level of Lady and the Tramp bad, and this is what they tend to do, is they put the bad ones, the ones that they know aren't going to make as much money, straight onto Disney Plus, and yep, that checks out. So I've been Cody from the Keepers of Nerdom. Take care, y'all, and have a good day. Bye.